Good evening, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for stopping by at my channel. My name is Rachel Abbey from Intentional Adulting, and I make videos for fed up millennials. So millennials who just feel really behind in life, really stuck, and who are ready just to start changing their lives in order to start achieving their life goals. So if you are a driven, motivated, ambitious millennial like myself, then definitely subscribe to this channel for life tips, success tips, etc, etc. So today I wanted to do a career chat with you. I do have a career chat playlist actually, so if you're interested in more discussions about career progression and developing in your career, etc, check out the playlist. But today I wanted to discuss making career moves, changing directions in your career, and whether it's too late for us in our 30s, in our late 20s perhaps, to make a career transition. I feel like I'm always thinking about whether or not I'm in the right career or how long I'd be doing what I'm doing for. I'm a human resources advisor, so I'm a senior human resources advisor. I've been doing this job, I've been doing this particular job for, I think it's been 3 years, but I've been working in human resources for like the past 10 years or like 9.5 years. So I've essentially been in the same industry for coming up to 10 years, and literally I think it's natural for us to wonder, like, okay, like how long are we going to be doing this for? Or it can be difficult for us to picture ourselves doing what we're currently doing in like the next 20 or 30 years. I remember when I was like 24 roughly, so just like 3 years into my career, and I was just like, I don't see myself doing this when I'm 50, when I'm 40. Like I just felt like I needed to get out of my HR career because I couldn't envision myself being really stressed, really overworked, really like busy for the next decade or two. I was a human resources administrator at that point, but I think that feeling probably resonates for a lot of you regardless of what career you are working in. Like a lot of us just feel like, God, is this all that life has for me? Like, is this what my life is going to be like? And for that reason, a lot of us start to question whether we should start to change careers, whether we should do something different, try something new, learn some new skills, etc. And I do feel like it is completely okay for us to at some points feel like, you know what, I'm going to try something new, or I want to try something new at least, because we're human beings. Like there's no rule that says you must do the same thing that you studied at university and you must do it for the rest of your life until you retire. There's no such rule like that. There's no reason why we need to stick to something, especially if we find like it's not fulfilling us, it's not, when we wake up in the morning, we're dreading work, we're dreading going into the office, we're dreading logging on, or even if you don't really feel that level of discontentment, perhaps you just feel really like blah about what you're doing, that you just feel there's not really much there. I feel like it's okay to question, should we potentially try something new? Maybe it's time to start like going back to university, or studying a postgraduate course, or doing an evening course, or applying for a new job at a different company, etc. Because we are human beings, we are not linear, we are cyclical, we are allowed to change as the seasons change, etc. And we should allow ourselves to grow and progress, even if that growth doesn't match what we had envisioned for ourselves 5 years ago, or even if someone else was to, if you were to tell someone else your plans, they were like, they would be like, what are you doing? Like, you've done law your entire career, like why do you suddenly want to become a photographer? Even if it doesn't make sense to someone else, I feel like we owe it to ourselves to allow ourselves to change and to explore and to pivot, because that is what life is about. I think when it comes to changing careers and making that decision to actually do something new, a lot of people say, oh, like, pursue your dreams, go for your dreams, blah blah blah. And when you're in your late 20s, in your 30s, even 40s for example, it's just not so easy just to follow your dreams and uproot and do something else. A lot of us have, you know, not liabilities but responsibilities. So some of us have children that need to be fed, some of us have mortgages to be paid. If we don't pay for our living accommodation, we may lose our house, or we may get chucked out by landlords. So it's not so easy just to like up and go or up and change, because a lot of us have bills that need to be paid for. So when it comes to changing careers, it does often mean a reduction in pay for people. I know for myself, like I'm 10 years in roughly into my human resources career, and that's all I've ever done since graduating from university. Like I haven't done anything else really apart from HR. If I was to suddenly change and start a new career, I would have to start at the beginning of that industry. Like I would not be able to go in as a mid to senior professional because I wouldn't know anything about that industry. Like I don't have any other experience apart from HR. So a lot of us I know are in that situation too. Like perhaps we're 5, 7, 8, 9 years into our current careers, and if we were to suddenly do something new, it would mean having to start at the bottom and work our way up. Not all of us can afford a pay cut at this stage of our lives, so it does make making that career transition decision quite difficult, and I totally get that. Another thing we have to think about as millennials as well is time is of the essence. I know we're not getting any younger, but a lot of us again have responsibilities. We may be looking after kids, looking after spouses, looking after elderly parents, for etc. We may not have time or a lot of time on our hands to decide to go back to university or to even study in the evenings or do a part-time course, for example. So time can be a potential blocker to us changing careers. Money can be a blocker, not in the sense of having to reduce our salaries, but having to pay for extra studies if we have to retrain in a different industry or acquire new skills. Some of us, if an employer isn't sponsoring, you know, that new course, some of us, it just kind of like wipes us out of being able to get those qualifications. So there are potentially a lot of blockers to us being able to pivot and develop new skills, new experiences in order to make that career transition. So yeah, I totally get that this is a very tough decision to make in general. What I would say though is, yes, it may be a tough decision to make. It may require a lot of thinking, a lot from us, etc. But at the end of the day, like if you feel like really uninspired by what you're currently doing, if you potentially like dread work regardless of, you know, where you're working. So for example, like the job that I do, a human resources advisor, I can do that at my current company, I can do it at a competitor, I can do it for in the public sector, I can do it for charities, I can do this job in many different places. Like I'm not stuck to the current company that I'm in. And what I would say for you, like if you have tried to change jobs, you know, you've moved from one company to the next, but yet you've still found yourself feeling really drained, I guess, like emotionally drained, uninspired, just lacking passion for life. Those are some signs that potentially a career change may be for you. So I guess just to make that really clear, some of us, we have felt like, okay, maybe it's just this current company that is the problem. Maybe if I move companies, I'd feel better, or I'd feel happier, or I'd feel more fulfilled. And we have actually changed companies, stayed in the same industry, and then we find ourselves feeling like how we felt 6 months ago, and it hasn't really made a difference. So sometimes that change of environment simply isn't enough. Sometimes we need to do a full-blown career change and just do something completely different, and that is okay if that is you. So again, things that I would look out for is if you're just feeling really unpassionate about life, nothing inspires you or excites you or motivates you about the current job you're doing, regardless of where you're doing that job, what company you're working at. If you feel like you've reached a ceiling in your career as well, so perhaps you've reached the top of the salary band for your career, even if you were to change companies, you wouldn't really see much of a pay increase. Even if you feel like perhaps it's not pay that is the issue, but it's development opportunities, there's just nothing more for you to learn in your current role, in your current industry, etc. Those are some signs that you may want to like seriously take note of and maybe consider that, yeah, these are signs for me to change careers. Also, like, think about, I would say, the kind of life that you're living now and whether it matches the life that you've envisioned for yourselves, let's say 5 years, 7 years down the line. Is there a mismatch? Is the kind of job that you're doing now, or the career or industry that you're working in, is it stripping you of what you want for yourself? Like, is it giving you the flexibility, the work-life balance that you would like? You know, can you see yourself still working, let's say, 60 hours a week when you're 35, when you're 40? Can you see yourself still traveling as much as you're doing so for work in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, for example? Can you see yourself still doing overtime as much as you're doing now? Or whatever it is, whatever the nature of your current job is, if you don't foresee yourself still doing that in 5 years' time, then again, that may be a sign that, okay, maybe I need to start developing new skills so that I can actually make my exit out of my current situation. Just have a think about what you would like your life, your future life, to look and feel like, and then assess whether what you're doing now is going to help you get there, or is it going to take you further away from your dream life. That's definitely something that I constantly think about constantly. I do also tell myself as well not to focus too much on the future, because sometimes we do need to just focus, like, be present and enjoy the present for what it is. The future is so undefined and uncertain. Sometimes we can't even predict what we may need or want in the future, or what it may look like. So sometimes trying to think so far ahead can actually cause us a lot of stress and anxiety. So sometimes you've got to pull yourself back and just focus on the now. But there are times when we do have to think about, okay, what kind of life do I want to live? What kind of schedule do I want for myself when I have children, when I get married, etc.? And will this job or will this company give me that, or will it pull me further away? So those are some things to think about if you're considering making a career transition. But yeah, I think overall that probably is the main factor for me, thinking about what kind of life do you want to have in the future, and will what you're currently doing help you get there, or will it pull you further away? And sometimes the answer to that question is the latter. Sometimes the answer is, this job that I'm doing right now, or this company that I'm working in, or this industry that I'm working in is not going to help me live the dream life that I want to live. And you may not be able to make an immediate change or do anything immediately about that right now, but that's completely okay. Like, even if you can't make any immediate changes, that simply just knowing that, okay, I need to make a transition at some point. It may not be now, but at some point I need to start reskilling, whatever it is, that can in itself make you feel happier about the future and more hopeful. Just knowing that, you know, I've got a plan and this is the plan, may make you feel like, okay, there is some progress here. Because we can also somehow start to feel really down if we feel like making change is not within our power at the moment. So having that kind of rough goal or like map as to, okay, in 6 months time, in a year, I'm going to start doing XYZ in order to start moving towards more of that dream lifestyle, that in itself can make us feel happier in the moment. Also, I know a lot of us have tendencies to kind of like just shut ourselves down and be like, oh, I can't do anything else, like I've only worked in this job or this company or this industry, like there's nothing else I can do. It can be really daunting, like trying to imagine something different to what we've always known. And for that, I would say, it's really important to establish role models, so people who have done the thing that you want to do, because they show you that your goals are possible. Sometimes our goals can feel so out of reach, so just beyond reality, that we need an example of, okay, this person has done this, he or she has made this a career transition and they have been successful, or they haven't died or ended up on the streets as a result of their decisions. So sometimes we just need that motivation or that example of, yes, it is possible to do. So if you have anyone in your circle, or if you want to establish like I guess a role model that is, you don't know personally but you always hear mentioned in Forbes or like online somewhere, use that person as your role model, because when the times get tough and you start to really self-doubt your dreams, doubt your goals, doubt what you're capable of, you can look to that person, remind yourself of their story, and hopefully that will pick you up as well. And what I would say in addition to that as well is, it is natural for us to question our abilities. Like, God, like, would I be able to go back to university and succeed at studying again? Would I be successful doing something that I don't know how to do at the moment, etc.? It is human nature for us to question ourselves and to have that self-doubt, but we move forward in spite of those self-doubts, in spite of those questions. I don't think anyone successful has done something that is scary without feeling some kind of resistance to it, without feeling some kind of fear, some kind of self-doubt, etc. But those people, they moved forward in spite of those fears, and that's how they've got to where they are. And we should do the same. Like, even though we may feel scared about having to interview, having to prepare for, redo our CVs or take tests, whatever it is, all of those things are possible for us as long as we prepare for them. Like, there's nothing that is with out of your reach that you cannot do. To remind yourself of how great you are, how adaptable you are to new situations, how flexible and agile you are, and the fact that you have worked in your current career for these amount of years, whether it's 2 years, whether it's 4 years, whether it's 10 years, it shows that you have the ability to succeed at what you put your mind to. And that is the characteristic of a winner. So because you're a winner, you can pivot and do something completely different and be successful at that as well. Even if it takes you like 5 years to get back up to the level of success or seniority that you currently are at in your current career, it doesn't matter. You can make things work for you, and as long as you stay focused on your goals and try and take small steps each day, or every 2 days or every week towards your dreams, you can make this totally happen for yourself. And by no means are you too old to make a career change, to make a career transition. I know society tries to tell us that, oh, you're too old to make a career, to change jobs or whatever it is. It is just simply not true, and we don't need to be putting pressure on ourselves from people who don't, not even they don't care about us, etc., but their opinions just simply don't matter. So there's never really an age that is too old to do anything, apart from what we internalize and believe for ourselves. Like, if we believe that we are too old to quit our jobs or take a sabbatical and travel the world, or to go back to school or whatever it is, then yeah, you will be too old to do it. But once you change your mindset, your genes, your mind, your psyche, it will change to become adaptable, to enable you to do the thing that you want to do. So you're only limited by your own self-limitations, your own limiting beliefs. So definitely just start telling yourself you can do this, it is possible for you, and start exploring this idea that you have, and establish role models for yourself, people that will inspire you and keep you motivated, and work towards your dreams. Even if you decide halfway that, you know what, this isn't for me, at least you tried, at least you explored, at least you were open to trying something new. It's better, you're better than people who just always have a dream forever and ever and who don't do anything about it. But if you decide to go for it all the way, you may really be grateful for this new decision that you've made, or you may try it and decide, you know what, after 6 months this isn't for me either. But that's what life is about. It's about exploring, it's about navigating, it's about putting yourself in new situations and just exploring life and just enjoying this ride as much as you can. It's not always about achieving success, achieving success, achieving success, progress, 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 up leveling. It's just not always about that. Like, yeah, life doesn't have to be like that, essentially. So I hope this video has inspired you. Yeah, just think about the life that you want to live in 3 years, in 4 years, in 6 years, etc. And start taking action towards that dream, towards making that happen for yourself. And try and enjoy the journey as much as you can. It's not always about the destination. When we reach the destination, we usually find that we have bigger and better dreams, and we still feel like we've got to do X, Y, and Z in order to be happy. So enjoy the journey as much as you can. And yeah, just look after yourself and your mental health along the way, and hopefully you will feel like you've achieved and that you've, you know, learned something as well, and you feel inspired and able to share with other people how you've grown as a person. That is the message I wanted to share with you today. Let me know if this video has been helpful by leaving a comment in the comment section, especially if you are a millennial and you are at the point where you're considering, should I change careers, should I not, etc, etc. Subscribe to my channel as well, like the video if you liked it, and join me next time for more adulting videos. Take care and God bless.